Sounds of South Summit Brasil. Realização Instituto Caldeira. Jornal do Comércio. Radioativa Produtora.
Estamos começando o episódio 1 do podcast Sounds of South Summit Brasil. A gente está recebendo aqui o Itai Green, que ele é conhecido como um guru da inovação. Welcome to Porto Alegre.
Thank you very much.
So to start, Itai, please tell us a little bit about your project, Innovate-Israel, please.
So Innovate-Israel is a consulting firm that helps big companies, big corporations, traditional one, to stay relevant in a time of rapid changes where there is no other alternative to stay relevant than to collaborate with others, with third parties like academy, like other companies, and mostly with entrepreneurs, with startupists. So we help the giants, the traditional corporations, to bridge the gap with the startupists and get value out of this collaboration, either by piloting technology, integrating, and even investing. So we are there to bridge the gap.
Mm-hmm. What's the main message you are bringing here to Instituto Caldeira today?
The main message is that these days of rapid changes of Gen AI and robotics and other technologies that have dramatic influence on our life and the future of companies, the only way to stay relevant is to put a lot of resources into collaborating with startups, with entrepreneurs. Big corporations that are looking into staying relevant, they have to know what surrounds them before everyone knows about that. They have to know that first before their competitors know that. And once they find the relevant technology, they have to move fast, collaborate, partner, integrate the technology before their competitors. Otherwise, it might be too late.
And how do these giant companies find the right startup to collaborate?
So actually, it's a matter of changing the corporate DNA into one that is much more open to what surrounds you. I mean, your people are the best sensors in order to know what surrounds the company. And in order to make the company attractive to startups to work with these corporate, the startupists need to know what are the corporate challenges. What are the challenges? And there is a magic. Once an entrepreneur learns about the challenge, he comes up or she comes up with a solution. But it cannot start unless the entrepreneur is aware of the challenges. So the first thing is really to share the challenges with the ecosystem and then receive feedback, get entrepreneurs to knock on your door, speak with them, discuss with them, come up to some way to collaborate with them, and then integrate it. And one of the key aspects is to do everything fast. These days, you cannot allow yourself to have endless processes that takes years with startups. Startups don't have the time. By the way, corporations also don't have the time.
And recognize the challenge, not close your eyes to them, right?
For sure. I mean, before the COVID, I used to advise my clients to publish every year the annual challenges. But following the COVID crisis and following the Gen AI revolution, I think these days the challenges should be updated once a quarter, not once a year. So I'm sure every corporate knows what the challenges are, but they need to be brave enough and smart enough to advertise it, to share it. A culture of sharing is by far more beneficial for the corporate than a culture of staying close, because their solutions are not going to come from internal. The needs might, but the solutions only from external, or 99% from external.
And how do you see innovation here in Brazil?
So it's really growing. I mean, I was quite impressed by the level of activity around innovation, either in Sao Paulo that I've been to, and also in Porto Alegre. And I think you're doing the right thing. You're on the right path. And I think the main challenge is to engage the corporations. Once you engage the corporations, you make them learn the relevancy, the importance of this collaboration with startups, like you do here at Caldeira, they will follow and they will succeed. But this is really the main challenge, to engage them, the corporate people, the corporate decision makers, the board members, the C-level executives. This is the challenge. If they will not be engaged, nothing is going to happen, because innovation is a top-down thing. It's not bottom-up, it's top-down. If the senior executives are not engaged, the owners, the board members, nothing is going to happen. So I would recommend to put most of the resources on educating them.
What price does a corporation pay if they don't face their challenges?
They will not be here in few years. Because technology allows others to move fast. So if you are not moving fast, you're not just staying in the place, you're moving back. You might end up like Nokia. That's what's going to happen. I mean, every corporate, one of the goals of every corporate is to be efficient, right? If your competitor is integrating new technologies and becomes more efficient, what is going to be the end game? That he will succeed. He will stay here for many years to come, and you will not be. You'll become irrelevant. So that's I think really the situation these days. And from one day to another, you see more and more technologies are getting to our life and to the corporations. So if you are kind of not looking at that, disregard, keep on doing the same that you've been doing for decades, you'll become irrelevant in few years, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years.
And you are coming from Israel, and I would like to ask you, how do you think technology is helping your country to go through this delicate moment?
So we see the entrepreneurial ecosystem super engaged since October 7th, and dedicating the technology for the country efforts with regard to intelligence activity, with regard to other activities. A lot is relying on video analytics and machine learning and AI in order to find the terrorists and in order to find only those that we need to fight and not hurt others. You see a lot of technologies around this. I can just recommend you to take a look at a company called Corsight, Corsight. They've been doing tremendous jobs since then. They've thanks to their technology, which is a very, very advanced technology around video analytics, and they've been helping the government to identify people, either wounded people, Israeli one, or terrorists. With their technology, you can identify a person even if he wears a mask, eyeglasses, and a hat. So this is a kind of technology which is very much advanced, and this is just one example. But absolutely, you could see on October 7th and the days after, truly all entrepreneurs, all startupists were providing the government and the army with the cutting-edge technology in order to help them fight the terrorists. And unfortunately, with some of those technologies, the government was not familiar with, because in the last decade, let's say, startupists were more into export their technology and less doing an effort to implement it in our place, in Israel. I think this is one of the lessons, that we should first take care of our people and then do good for the rest of the world.
And now to finish, Caldeira asked me to ask you, if you could talk to anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would you like to talk to, and what question would you ask to this person?
That's a very good question. I think one of the smartest people that Israel had was Shimon Peres, the previous prime minister and president. Unfortunately, he's not alive. And I think these days we are missing his creative mind, and he was very smart. And I think we had to have such a good advisor now to help us to navigate during this time, which is absolutely a challenge, but we will overcome, because first of all, we have no other alternative. And second, if we will not win, they will keep on moving to other countries like Europe, like America, like others. So we are in the front line. We will win. And hopefully within a year from now, we'll be in a much more positive situation with our neighbors and also internally.
Green, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And enjoy South Summit.
Thank you very, very much for inviting me.
Sounds of South Summit Brasil. Realização Instituto Caldeira. Jornal do Comércio. Radioativa Produtora.